So what questions do I ask a potential client to make sure that they're a fit? And what questions should you be asking? That's what I will be answering on today's video. All right, welcome back. This series that I've been doing is all about questions from you guys. And in general, a lot of the questions have been from newer coaches and people who are just getting started. So if that's where you are, don't worry, you're not alone. This series is going to be a great one for you. And I will link a couple of the other videos that have been really helpful. We've talked about pricing. We've talked about even how I got started with my coaching business and how I grew and even shared like how much money I made in the first year and all of that. So if you missed any of those videos, then just click the link in the description box and everything that you need will be there. This question is a popular question, and it's all about what do you ask when you are getting ready to book a client? Like, what should you ask? What questions do you need to get the answers to so that you know if they're a good fit or not? And in general, there are a couple questions that I always recommend that clients ask when they're trying to figure out if somebody's a good fit for them. But really what it's going to come down to is that you're going to need to customize this process for yourself. Let's just start with the thought process first behind what questions to ask. So in general, when you get on a call with a new potential client, what you're doing is typically called a discovery call, a discovery session. Some people might call it a strategy session or a breakthrough session or clarity call or a complimentary session. Whatever you call it, the purpose and outcome is the same. And really that is to determine if you can help the client, if they are ready to get results, and if they're able to make the investment. So those are the three things. So as soon as you know that you can help them, and as soon as you know that they're ready to get help, and obviously you'll know if they're ready to make the investment by what happens next, then, that's essentially the whole purpose of the call. The call is not for coaching. It's not for, let me help you a little, or, let's figure out what you need to do next. It really is to help them get clarity. I mean, yeah, it's to help them to get clarity on their next steps, but the goal is to figure out, like, are your next steps to work with me, or are your next steps to do it yourself, or are your next steps to, do something else if this is just not a good fit for you. So what I will say is that for the majority of clients, one of the very first questions should be, why did you book this call? And that's typically what I start my clarity calls with. So I call my calls clarity calls, and I typically start them with, what made you decide to book the call in the first place? Typically what happens, and the response that you'll get from that question will give you an insight into, can you actually help them, and are they ready to get results? And it might even help you determine if they're ready to make the investment depending on, the answer that's provided. So the thought process behind the entire call is, to figure out those three things. And then that very first question is one of the best ways to get the answer to those three things, believe it or not. Then from there, in general, I tell many clients to ask the question of, what made you reach out to me in particular? So you can ask this on your intake form as well. If you don't want to do it during the call, you can ask it on your intake form, but you can also just ask it during the call. Then from there, after you find out why they reached out to you and why they in particular want to work with you, or why, not necessarily why they want to work with you, but why they decided to reach out to you in particular, which you can actually do in one question. You can say, what was it that made you want to book the call with me? But you will likely get a little bit of a better response if you break those up into two questions. Because why did you decide to book the call can have a different answer from why did you decide to book the call with me, right? So those are in general kind of the two main questions that I want to make sure that every client asks to determine if the person is a good fit. Then from there, the next general questions that everyone should be asking are related to where they are now and where they'd like to go, and really what they feel like is in their way of where they are now and where they'd like to go. Like, what is stopping them or preventing them or blocking them from getting to where they want to go? So this is for you if you're a fitness or health coach, if you are a sales or business coach, if you're a marketing coach, if you're a relationship coach. Like, in general, like, everyone has a here I am now, and everyone has a here's where I want to be next. So if you can determine where they are now and then also determine where they want to go, and then also figure out like what is it that's holding them back, then you can really help them to get clear on what that thing is. Because a lot of times like people haven't internalized and they haven't really spoken it out. They're not clear on what's holding them back because they haven't actually said what's holding them back. Like they haven't answered that question. So by you asking it, you're going to help them get clarity just by asking the question. And then from there, what you really want to determine is, do they know what's holding them back? So a lot of times when I get applications for our coaching program, clients will say something like, I know that I need to get help with this. I've been struggling for, months and years or whatever. Like I've been doing this, like I know that it's time for me to get help. And an answer like that really tells me that, okay, this person is ready, they're coachable, and whatever we ask them to do, they're gonna jump in and they're gonna do it, which is gonna help them get even better results because they won't be constantly going back and forth, or they won't be like half in, half out. So the purpose of the questions of figuring out, what's in your way is also to help you to determine, are they really ready to get help now? Remember, the three things were, can you help them? Are they ready to get help right now? And are they willing to make an investment and invest in themselves? So a question like, what do you feel like is in your way, is also going to help you determine, are they ready to get help now, right? And then the other thing that we're really trying to determine during the call, or the question that can help you determine this during the call, is what have you tried already? That's really, really helpful because a lot of times you might run across someone who's like, I'm just getting started and I haven't tried anything to, lose those last 10 pounds. I'm just really excited and motivated. And you're like, okay, great. I'm not ready to work with you. And I say that and I kind of hate it at the same time. I mean, I don't really hate it, but it's kind of disappointing to me that people have to fail so many times before they're ready to like actually put in the work and do the thing that works. But typically if somebody comes to me and they're like, I'm just getting started and I'm just like ready to go, and they haven't tried a couple things already, or they haven't been determined and trying to see what works for them, if they haven't done that yet, then it's probably not a good fit, because what's going to happen is they're going to question you along the way because they haven't tried anything else before. And so if they're like, well, I've tried, this and I've tried that, and I know, it quite doesn't work for me. And, I connect with you, not necessarily your method or your way of doing things, but like I connect with you, then that's usually typically going to be a much better candidate than someone who's like, well, I'm just here for, just to try it all out. And that's not necessarily the person that you want. So then from there, as I'm trying to determine during the discovery call, like if they're a good fit, can they make the investment? Is this someone I can help? Then, obviously the most customized part of it is, can I actually help them? And for this is where you're going to need your own specific questions. So for me, a lot of the questions that I'll ask are around like, do you have an email list? Or do you already have a website set up? So there are certain specific things that are necessary and necessary to put in place in order to, get the best results from my program. And so those are the customized questions that I ask. And then sometimes when I ask those questions, I'm really looking for a deeper answer. Like if I get an answer like, well, yeah, I kind of have a website, but somebody was working on it and then they just quit and I just never followed up with them. Something like that, which I just made that up. That's not something that I've ever heard before. But if somebody said something like that, like I would want to dig deeper. Like, why didn't you follow up with them? What's really going on there? Why are you, essentially hiding? And so part of your discovery call process is a coaching. Like it's not necessarily like giving answers, the giving answers type of coaching, but what you're doing is you're trying to listen to the reasons behind what they are sharing. So like there's a lot of times you're going to get surface level answers during the calls. It's really rare that someone actually comes on the call and they're just like open and honest and clear. And they're like, this is what I want. I know that it's not working. And usually those people are like, I already know I want to work with you. Like, just tell me the investment, let's get started. They kind of go from there. But typically when someone comes on the call, they're going to have some sort of facade up. They're going to have some sort of protective armor on because they don't want to be sold. They don't want to be like, they know that if you just kind of push them over, like they'll like fall right into the program. And that's where our ethics come in as coaches to really determine, like, is this person actually a good fit? Can I actually help this person before you make an offer? So when you get on the phone with your potential or ideal client, before you even know if they're an ideal client, you're gonna have to ask certain specific questions to determine if you can actually help them, and also, try to listen for that reason behind what they're actually sharing. Don't always just take it at surface level. Sometimes these calls can turn into a probing type of coaching where you're not necessarily answering the questions for them, but you're asking really good questions as helping to open them up to clarity. So sometimes I'll ask a question like, what's your current closing rate? Do you know how many calls you need in order to reach your goals? And if they don't, then I might ask a question like, well, do you think if you had more qualified calls that you'd be able to close more clients? And if the answer is yes, then I'm like, okay, great. I can help you get qualified calls. That's exactly what we do here. I don't say it right then, but it's during the discovery call process that you start getting prepared for the final closing process. And I guess, like, if you do your discovery call right, you're actually closing all along the way with the types of questions that you ask and with your customized questions. So like I said, some of those general questions that are great for everyone are good and they're good information, but your customized questions, which your coach should be able to help you to customize a sales script with your customized questions, you're going to be closing before you even get to the close, right? All the way at the end. And so by the time you get to the end, like, the whole, like, do you want to do split pay or full pay is just a formality before they give you their credit card and then sign, right? So it's sort of like, if you are familiar with real estate investors, they'll say that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. And that's because they understand that when they're looking at a deal, they're only going to make a purchase when they know that the deal will make them money once they sell it. And they've already done the numbers and the calculations. And your discovery call process essentially needs to be the same. Like, the questions that you're asking are helping you to get the right answer so that you know when it's time to sell, right? When it's time to actually make that offer, that you've already covered those objections. And I actually did another video on the whole sales call process that you should definitely watch if you'd like more help with sales calls. If you have other questions on sales calls, leave them below and let me know. Right now, what I'm doing for this series is I'm asking you to share what question you would ask a six-figure coach to help you on your journey to becoming one. So leave your questions below. Follow me on Instagram because some of these I will be answering in short snaps or reels as well. I'm at Letitia Styles TV. And while you're leaving your comment below, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. I do broadcast every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So if you'd like to ask your question live, then you can definitely join me then. In the meantime, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.